Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. We're back in the corner and today we are going to be making a web server in this Pepsi cup right here. So I gotta clean off my counter and then we'll get into it. Alright, so I got the desk all cleaned off and now I can tell you what we're going to use for this project. So we're going to need a Raspberry Pi like this one. This one is a Model 3 and any Raspberry Pi is going to work. A Raspberry Pi 0, 1, 2, 4, anything. It just has to have a wireless connection or Ethernet. So if you don't have one with an Ethernet port, you're going to need a Wi-Fi dongle or something like that just to connect to your Wi-Fi. So that's important. We're going to need a battery pack, kind of like this one, and obviously the cord to connect that to this, which is a micro USB cable. And optionally, you can have a hard drive, doesn't matter. We're going to need an Ethernet cable, some duct tape, my famous duct tape, and a Pepsi cup with a straw. Oh, also you're going to need a laptop or computer, desktop, whatever you want to use, just something that can connect to the Raspberry Pi. So those are our tools for today, and let's get right into it. First up, you're going to want to start off with a brand new download of the Raspbian image. You're going to download it to the SD card that you put in your Raspberry Pi. So you can get that by going to the Raspberry Pi website, just typing in Raspbian image in Google. It'll pull up and you just download that on your computer and write that to the SD card. And you can do that using the Raspberry Pi Imager, which is also available for download on that website. I'll leave the link in the description. Imager thing, and we put Raspbian on the SD card. We can go into that file, and to enable SSH, we need to make a new file in here because we don't want to have to boot it up and enable that way. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go into here and click New Folder, and we're going to name it. What are we going to name it? SSH. Just leave that folder in there and remove the SD card safely, and we're going to be good to go. Alright, so we have our SD card. We saved the special file called SSH on it. We're just going to turn the Raspberry Pi over and slide that card in. Maybe. I don't know if I can do this correctly. Okay. So after you've got the card in there, you're going to want to open up the computer again. I know. We're just doing this so many times. But first, we're going to want to plug in our Ethernet cable. And then we're going to want to plug this into an Ethernet port. Probably on a router or anywhere else that you can get internet from Ethernet. We're also going to want to plug the Raspberry Pi in, and I'll do that downstairs. Okay, so after you have the Ethernet cable plugged in like this, you're just going to want to take your power cord and plug it in, and then you see it's booting up, and let's see if Ethernet works in just a second. There we go, we got Ethernet. So now we can go back to the computer and SSH into this. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is go into Google Chrome, or any browser will work. You're going to type in the IP address of your router. And if you don't know this, you can just basically say, what's my IP, and then just make the very end to all ones. So go in there. It's going to ask you for your login credentials. Okay, keep in mind that this is not your Wi-Fi login. This is just a login to your router. So however you logged in to your router to set up your Wi-Fi, this is that login. And the default is going to be admin and admin as both of them on most routers. But everyone's a little bit different, so you can look that up online for your router and just say, how do I log into my router? I'm just going to type in mine, which is admin, of course, and then password. Okay. So once you get in here, you're going to want to go down to what says attached devices. Keep in mind, yours isn't going to look the same because all router interfaces are a little bit different. But just find somewhere where it says attached devices, click on it, and you can go in to look at all the devices that are hooked to your network. So first you're going to want to find the wired connections, so you can kind of weed out the ones that aren't connected through Ethernet. And then you're going to want to find the one that says Raspberry Pi right here. It'll be named that. And of course my disk is almost full, but we're going to go and find the IP address of that. You can copy that or memorize it. Both work. Then you're going to want to head over to Terminal. I am using a Mac, and for Windows it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to want to go and download a software called Putty, P-U-T-T-Y, and basically it'll walk you through how to do what I'm doing here, but just copy that IP address, download PuTTY, and basically it'll be the same as we're doing here. So what you want to do, you're going to go make a full screen terminal and type sudo to run as administrator, SSH, and then pi at that IP address you just copied. And so what this is going to do is going to SSH, or basically just control remotely the pi from your computer. Click enter, type in your password to your computer, and then you're going to want to type in the Raspberry Pi's password, which is by default Raspberry. So type in Raspberry, but if you've already changed it, you got to type in that password. Okay, so now we're all the way into the Raspberry Pi. The first thing we're going to want to do, if you haven't already done this, is go into sudo raspi-config. Enter. Then you're going to want to change the password, click enter again. And it's going to ask you for a new password. Type in any new password, so something you can remember. This just keeps things more secure. And then we're good. We're going to go all the way down to finish. Click enter. And the first thing we're going to want to do is sudo apt-get update. And it's going to do all the updating for us. Just making sure everything's up to date.
Take a little bit. Then we're going to want to do sudo apt-get upgrade. Click enter. And this is just making sure everything is up to date and all good to go. Yeah, it's just saying additional memory will be used. We're fine with that.
Alright, so now that we have all that stuff done, what we're going to want to do is sudo apt install Apache 2-y. And so what this will do is it's going to install the Apache web server, which is a great web server, and we're just going to download it. And we're almost done. It's pretty quick. It's not that big. Maybe. I might be wrong. There we go. See? Yeah. Alright, so with Apache all the way installed, we're going to want to go over to our browser again and type in the IP address of our Raspberry Pi. So mine is this. And alright, it shows us the web server is up and working. And this is the default page, so we can go ahead and edit it. Alright, so now we need to set up permissions for the Apache, what's it called? Basically just the Apache file system, so where all the files are going to go. So set up the permissions, we're going to go sudo usermod -a -G www-data space pi and enter. There we go. Sudo chown -R -f www-data www-data space /var/www extra w there HTML. Alright, so those permissions are all done. Now we can actually edit the web page. Click sudo reboot. Alright, and it'll knock us out of the SSH. We're going to have to do it again. So sudo SSH pi at 192.168.1.2, whatever IP address your Raspberry Pi's at. Same thing as before, computer password. It doesn't know if I got it right or not, but it's going to just sit there and load for us because it's being slow. Alright, so now that that works, we're going to have to type in the password to the Raspberry Pi that we made. and we're logged back in. So now we can go into nano and then /var /www/html/ man, that disk space is filling up quick, and new.html. So I've been getting it wrong this whole time. We're not typing nano, we need to type sudo nano because we want to run as administrator, not car. Var /www/html/new.html. Okay, that should work. And I'll have all these commands, the correct ones, down in the description, so you don't have to follow all my mistakes. And again, we're just going to type the HTML5 web server, yay. And we're just going to see if this shows up in the browser. Control O, enter, and it wrote the lines, and then we're just going to Control X, go into our browser, and when we do this /new or whatever file name you saved .html, it should bring up the text that we just said. So yep, right there, web server, yay. We typed that in, and it looks like the web server is working. So we're not quite done yet because I want to add PHP support to this. So this is still this thing, and we're going to go back into here. To add PHP support, we're going to have to type in a few more commands. First thing we're going to want to do is type sudo apt install PHP7.3 PHP7.3 -mb string space, oh, what's it called? PHP7.3 -mysql. That'll give us MySQL support. PHP7.3 -curl and PHP7.3 -zip space -y. That'll give us all those PHP, and it's gonna take a minute. Download all those. Okay, so we have those PHP files installed. So we're gonna want to go back into the editor. So sudo PHP. Boom. Okay, we got it right this time. So now what we're gonna want to type is PHP. Enter. Now we're gonna want to echo this to the screen because PHP is a server-side language. Today's date. No. Date. And let's make good grammar here. Today, date, and then we're gonna want to put a is space right here. .date, and go like this. A bunch of this. -m-d space h. This is just telling it how to display the information. So hours and stuff, seconds, colon. And where's my other one? There we go. Okay, and semicolon. That should be good. Then we're going to say Control O to write that, and it wrote. Control X, go back into our browser, and Raspberry Pi IP address /example, whatever you named that file, PHP, and it shows us today's date. So we have a fully up and running web server. Now we're going to put it in a Pepsi cup and act inconspicuous. Alright, so what we're going to want to do here is take our amazing Pepsi cup, and we're going to want to drop our battery down in there. Make sure we're not pinching anything up too bad. And squeeze our Raspberry Pi nice and right by it, and well, looky there. Not too bad. Looks pretty good. And we're gonna take our Ethernet cord and feed it up through the straw hole on the lid. So it looks very much like a super long straw. That fell over. And we're just going to try and shove this on there. Voila! We have our Pepsi cup web server. So let's go see what people think. Oh boy! What is that? That's a weird looking straw. Oh! My neighbor's got his web server running again. I sure do, Johnny. Don't you like my beautiful Pepsi cup web server? I know I have a wire runner at the top, but that's just for security reasons, because running a web server over Wi-Fi, man, that's just not that secure, so you gotta keep your cables correct. Yeah, I was gonna do this wirelessly, but you know, there's just too many drawbacks. The speed, security, that's a lot of things going on. Especially this accent, I don't know what I'm doing, but thanks for checking out my web server, Tommy. Oh, sure thing, man, that was awesome. That's like a really cool Pepsi cup web server. I don't know how you did that, but... So, it really does make it less secure if you do it on Wi-Fi? Yeah, that's really the only reason I didn't do it, because Wi-Fi just isn't as secure, and I want this to be a pretty secure web server, so now I'm going to go walk on my website outside with my Pepsi cup web server. Wow, that's really cool. I guess I'll see you later. Maybe tell me your website address or something.